When you come to events like Comic-Con, I mean, what do fans most want to know about the show? What do they approach you about the most?
Oh man, I think stuff about their favorite characters, like getting together or not, or stuff like that. I hear it so much I don't remember it though. The things I remember is like somebody at the Chicago con like was into the music. And wondered if we could put it like on a soundtrack or online. I mean the score, not just like the songs or whatever. You know, that stuck with me for some reason. But yeah,
people are paying attention. Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's good. Yeah.
Well, with Devon Sawa now a regular, can you tell us a little bit about what you have in store for Owen? Any sort of hint of where his character, what you have in store for him?
Yeah, Owen is going to come back in our 4th episode. It's when he's going to make his return. I don't know the date of it, but number 4, and we have some exciting things, planned for him. I think the thing I can kind of reveal is that part of Owen's story is that he doesn't remember anything that happened to him in his life before Division. Is that when Amanda came and kind of warped him, every time he tries to think about what his life was before Division, he gets these really bad headaches. And so
because
there's kind
of the regimen?
It's basically he was very susceptible to this kind of treatment that she gave him, and that's part of his reason to come back is to find out who he was and everything that happened. And Amanda's the key to it. And of course, they don't have Amanda.
And that was my other question.
Yeah.
What's up with Amanda? And what will we be seeing her
She also
doing?
comes back in episode 4. See, these things are
okay.
tied together. Amanda's out there. And the thing that I haven't found yet, but I was just talking to Melinda outside about is we want a new look for Amanda. Because she's been on the run, like Nikita was in the first season, so we want this kind of, we're debating what it's going to look like, so I'm kind of taking ideas for that, We wonder, with short hair, spiky, crazy,
So no red stiletto pumps.
She's not in
now
the
that she's on the
world
run.
anymore, yeah. So yeah, I want her to be scarier somehow.
Yes, somehow.
So I would ask her. Yeah, exactly. Something rude. She had her hair red today, and I was like, "That's not far enough. No, we got to go something insane." So.
Thank you.
I'm sure saying bye to Percy was Victoria's anniversary was difficult, but it just seemed necessary for the show to kind of get to that next step. So can you talk a little bit about the creative process of deciding that's where the show was going to go?
I feel like we knew it at the beginning of the 2nd season that she was going to take over Division, and there was no way that he could survive that because he already was stripped down and in a cell at the beginning, and then he breaks out halfway through the season. So your only 2 options are and then he retakes Division. So the only 2 options are he goes back in a cell or he goes back on the run. Both things we'd seen from the character before. And I kind of wanted him to go out at the top, sort of. And so that was the reason behind it. But it is, it is tough because he was such a great bad guy. But I think that, I think that we're going to have a bunch of bad guys now out there who are all equally. Are very scary, even besides that.
Is that why Carla Bennett had to go too?
You know what? That was more. Carla Bennett going was more of me feeling like everything got overstuffed in the middle of the 2nd season, and I was like, I literally couldn't afford to have all these people in an episode. Alberta Watson, her, Carla Bennett, we couldn't make the show anymore. It was sort of like we had to pay service to all these different characters who we kept logging on, so they just started dying one after another. So yeah, but she had served her purpose.
But speaking of great bad guys, you made great use of Peter Outerbridge this season.
Yeah.
And are we going to see him come back? Are there plans?
Yes. He's back. He's back. He will be back. He's He's with Amanda. Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He's awesome.
I remember when he was in Regenesis, and I was like, this can't be the same guy. It's the same guy.
He does. He's sort of like the go-to guy in Toronto. Every show that comes through, every pilot. I think he's in the Beauty and the Beast pilot for the CW, and they wanted him as a recurring character. And we're like, no, we have him. You can't have him. So yeah, he's awesome.
The little gal at the computer, is it Lindy Greenwood?
Yes.
Are we going to see more of her this season? Is she going to have a bigger part and everybody coming in? And
Yeah, Sonia. She's going to have the fun thing about Sonia is that she kind of gets together with Burkhoff at the end of the finale last season, and when we pick up with them, they've had a fling, and then something's gone wrong, and everybody in the show knows it except for the audience, and everybody talks about it, and they're very icy to each other, and it's fun. We have fun. We're going to have fun with that for a while, and then we eventually start to realize, or reveal what happened. And it's good. It's dimension with Burkhoff and everything. She's great.
So now that Ryan is going to be a series regular, can you talk about how you like shake up
Yeah, Ryan is, he's sort of running division now. He's in a position of power, and it's not so much power, it's responsibility, which he's never had before, because he was always just like a CIA agent or staffer, like an analyst. And now he's calling the shots, and there's a significant burden on him that he's holding back from Nikita, that he's not telling her about, that we find out at the end of the first episode. And it sort of creates a tension between them. And, whether that creates a tension between Michael and Nikita and Ryan is something that's going to maybe happen a little later on in the season, because something really big happens with Michael and Nikita in the first episode. So all that stuff is down the mix. And then, of course, Owen comes back. I was saying he's coming back in episode 4, and he will be, I can't say too much more about it, really, because he always, the great thing about Owen is, everybody wants to see him. They want to see him more and more and more, but we feel like every time we use him, we completely maximize the guy, and we don't want to ever have him just standing around doing nothing. And so that's sort of our approach. That's why he's so great, is that he always comes in, always doing something. So,
You've got the spirit ensemble, and then Brad Grenfell's back. Brad didn't know what games was back. So how is that process for you in finding the balance and servicing that all these characters as the ensemble is? How do you guys break that all down?
Well, not everybody is contracted for all episodes. Devin is contracted for 12 out of the 22. We have to find out and even Noah is not all the episodes. So it's about making sure if they were in all of the episodes, it would be really, really hard to have them doing something interesting every time.
Show up in the background making popcorn. Okay, you're done.
Kind of, yeah. Holding the horses.
Sorry, I have another question. I'm just wondering how many seasons now, how many more seasons do you have planned? Because a lot of people are saying that the season 2 finale could have almost been like a series finale. And it was kind of a lot of news outlets were saying the merger, the show was going to get renewed. Now that it hasn't, how much more storytelling do you have planned?
Well, I had always planned the 3 seasons. Her taking over Division was a paradigm shift to me. There was never an ending. It could have been an ending. If the show ended, people would have been like, okay, that's where it ended. Even with a giant cliffhanger. Past the season, I don't have a plan. So what I'm hoping is that halfway through the season, I begin to come up with a plan for the next one.
So the storytelling happens more organically.
Yes, and I think as you'll see in this season, they are doing, it's more standalone. It's the cases, it's all these rogue agents. We have these 30 rogue agents called the Dirty 30, and they have all sort of cut out their trackers and are all in business for themselves, and they form the episodes, you know, going after these people, and they're all into different stuff, and we go into, like, you know, we have a character who is the guy who would find you, fake your death, and recruit you, you know, the guy who was a specialist in actually faking the death row inmates, you know, and now he's selling his services to, you know, other cartel leaders on death row and all that stuff. So all the legacy of Division that Percy created is now spread like Pandora's box, and they're going out trying to pick up these dangerous sort of, you know, loose fragments.
So should this show go on for further seasons? Is that going to alter the original ending you had in mind because you're going to have to tell more story, or are you just going to go beyond what you originally did?
What I think what you see will start to happen is Nikita's like, okay, you know how in Aliens, Sigourney Weaver's like, you're not going to study them, right? You're just going to destroy them, not bring them back. That's kind of Nikita at the beginning of the season. She's like, so we're just going to find these guys and stop them, and then Division, we're going to turn off the lights and, you know, close the doors and go home, right? And everyone's like, yeah. And as it goes on and Division starts to become something useful for the government, they go, hey, maybe we should kind of keep this running, and then does she have a conflict with that? And because it has this very finite mission, you know, in the beginning of the season. And grappling with that, grappling with the fact that she was always fighting against the man, now she kind of is the man, working for the man. Like, that's going to, I think, come to a head and I think can explode out into more stories.
So if you go through and realize, okay, maybe I don't have the story that I want, like, would you consider ending it?
I can't make that call. I can't go to Warner Brothers and go, you know, like, you guys, I'm done. I think we should end it here. And they're like, yeah, no.
You know, like with a spy show, there's always room for more stories, and there's always another
totally,
big bag.
yeah, absolutely. Spy shows are case-driven shows. They're kind of exciting procedurals in a way, so they can keep going. I fantasize about it, though. Believe me, absolutely. You know what show I respect so much, I love, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, they had 3 seasons planned out. That show became a monster hit. It became Nickelodeon's Harry Potter. They would have kept going with it, and then they said, no, that's the end of our story. 2 years passed, and they're back. It's a new story. It's new characters. I really respect that. But I don't know if network TV can do it.
Is there a theme this year? Last year was home.
Yeah, there is. There's a couple of themes. I think this theme is family. It's sort of like, you know, we were all inspired by the Avengers movie. The fact that, like, they were brought together, and then they all sort of were squabbling and fighting, you know, each other. They're serving this common cause, and then they all kind of united at the end. I really like that. I think I see the same kind of dynamics in our Nikita family that's sort of formed. So it's about that, and it's about Amanda, who's been cast out and wants to show these kids that they can't throw their mom out, basically.
Yeah.
And so she's coming back, and she's going to make them suffer.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems like it's almost like there's a parable in the shows. Do you mean to do that?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when I'm watching them, these could really become classics. People could pick them all apart, and some of the quotes about the 99% not knowing what the 1% have planned. And then Nikita said one time, I feel like my life is like marbles and on a table. You know, a lot of things like that. It just feels like you could go back and just really pick it apart.
Yeah, we keep pushing and pushing the stories so that they get those layers as much as we can until we run out of time.
Yeah.
And have to shoot it.
What do you have in mind for development?
Well, I have a thing for Alex that kind of happens, I think, past our winter break. That's kind of exciting. She has had her revenge now. She's like, what do I do now with my life? Her life has been so like Dickensian up to this point. She's been through so much stuff. I think the next step for her now is to find love. She has a very difficult past sort of sexually, so that makes it so hard for her to kind of be normal that way. And so she's kind of got to really learn how to deal with sex and love, and see that they can coexist.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.